Welcome in, everybody, to a special Football 24/7 edition here on JAKIB Sports. We are giving you the Thursday recap on practice as the Philadelphia Eagles are just 3 days away from hosting the NFC title game. I'm your host, Zander Krause. Don't forget to follow me on X at Real Zander, and that's John McMullen, live from Novacare Complex today. Follow him at JF McMullen. He had a lot of pictures today of the practice. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Thursday evening, live from the Novacare parking lot, brother?
Yeah, still cold.
Get that car on, man. You got to get your heat on in there.
Getting a little bit better, but yeah, cold day at the Novacare complex. Not as bad as last week, though. So trending in the right direction. I think all the focus was on Jalen Hurts coming into today, and then it turned to Cam Jurgens and Dallas Goedert, partially because Nick Sirianni playing semantic games about they're going to be at practice, but they weren't practicing. And that's the bottom line. Cam Jurgens and Dallas Goedert did not practice, and that makes 2 consecutive days. Obviously, they had a walkthrough on Wednesday, so it's estimated not a real practice, but that's not a positive sign for either. And if you go all the way back to early Wednesday when they signed Cam Irving, which I mentioned on the show
you mentioned that this morning. Yep.
Well, now, you even think about it from Nick Muse, who's a younger player, so it makes more sense. He'll probably be here with a futures deal after the season ends. But it didn't raise as much with Nick Muse, but it certainly raised eyebrows with 32-year-old Cam Irving. And he can play center, and Cam Jurgens is dealing with a back injury. And Landon Dickerson was taking the first-team reps at center in the individual drills open to reporters. Tyler Steen was playing left guard for typically where Landon Dickerson plays. So, Landon spoke after practice, said he still thinks Cam's going to be able to go. We'll see, but if he's not, it looks pretty evident that the plan is to play Landon Dickerson at center.
Right, and then slot in Tyler Steen at guard. So we'll see how that plays out. John, what's your any gut feeling on what you feel? Like I came in yesterday, I heard Cam was out, and I'm like, okay, they've been doing this the last couple of weeks, right? Guys miss practice, and then they're good to go for the game day. But 2 straight days now, it starts to feel a little bit weird. Does it feel weird to you? What's your gut feeling right now on just where Cam Jurgens is?
Yeah, it felt weird to me when I saw Irving sign. That's
Right.
when I said, all right, something's going on.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Cam Jurgens showed up on the injury report. And, you know, no, I'm not ready to rule him out, but it's not positive. It's trending in a negative direction. He wasn't even there. Dallas Goedert was there.
Right. You saw
practice.
Goddard on the field. You didn't see Cam Jurgens on the field.
No, Cam was not there on the field. Dallas was at least, catching a few footballs off to the side while everybody else was stretching and warming up. So he seems to be a little bit closer. But Cam Jurgens, and then, my thought process is if they thought Cam was going to play, they're not going to move Landon. In other words, they got a bunch of guys who can play center in practice. Nick Gates, Brett Todd, they can all play center in practice. It's not that big of a deal. The fact that they're specifically getting Landon Dickerson reps at center, that to me is another sort of tea leaf that points in a negative direction.
Yeah, not good, man. If we lose Cam Jurgens, John, how big of an impact is that on this game? You got a good interior D-line on this Washington football team, and he's been a rock-solid center all year long. What kind of impact do you think that would have on the game if Cam were to miss?
Well, I don't think the issue is at center because Landon is a really good player, and he's a
I agree.
really good center. He was a center before he was a guard. I think the impact is the downgrade from Landon Dickerson to Tyler Steen at left guard. I think it turns into – I don't want to dismiss Cam. He's a Pro Bowl player, in his first year, and he's done a great job, as you said. But, Landon's really good. That's why they're moving him. And there was remember, there was talk when he was drafted that he was going to be the heir apparent to Jason Kelsey, and then injuries happened, and he had to play early at left guard. And he was so good they never moved him.
Right.
He's he's an All-American center at Alabama, as you know, as an Alabama guy.
Yep.
I mean, he's a great center. And Lane Johnson was joking today about he likes to be an orchestra master with his hand. He really likes it. So I don't think you have any problem with center. I think the problem becomes left guard, where you the downgrade from a second team All Pro and Landon Dickerson to Tyler Steen is pretty significant.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll see how that injury report progresses. John, you mentioned Dallas. You kind of gave your spin on it. You felt a little better, but wait, just one last question on Cam. John, any idea when this injury happened? I didn't see him go down in the game. I didn't see him limp out of there. I didn't see any sort of inkling or any sort of thing that would have tipped off him being injured. Any idea when this happened?
No, didn't see anything in the game. Obviously, we've asked Nick. He's not given us anything to the point that he wouldn't even say they weren't. They weren't. They were going to be at practice, and they really weren't at practice. And then they explained, well, you should have asked him if he was going to practice. So
Right.
that kind of nonsense is what they're playing. But yeah, eventually we'll get to talk to Cam and he'll tell us, but the Eagles certainly aren't going to tell us. So, back injury for an offensive lineman could have happened in the game. I didn't see anything noticeable in the game. But again, they're tough guys. They play through a lot. Could have happened in the weight room. So many ways you can hurt your back. But the bottom line is, showed up Wednesday and wasn't able to go in a walkthrough, and he's not able to practice today. So, and again, I go back to the Irving signing. The Eagles aren't just bringing in a 32-year-old for no reason on January, whatever it was, 22nd, 23rd. So my guess is the game, but that's just speculation because he but he talked after the game as well. He talked to reporters.
Cam did?
Yeah. So, it's a mystery right now.
And you know what the worst, John? The one thing I don't like about this is it's the back. Like, how back, like you can tweak your back getting up off the couch. Like,
Well,
it's
that's
one
what
of
I
those
mean.
injuries here where they linger and they can be a problem for a long time. So we'll see if Cam Jurgens goes this Sunday. John, let's move into Dallas Goedert now, the next big name on the injury report. He did not practice today, but the good news there, or the better news there compared to Cam, was you did at least see him out on the field. He's nursing an ankle injury. John, what do you know about Dallas Goedert right now?
Yeah, again, he was on the field and he was watching practice and he was even, catching some balls off to the side. So a little bit more positive with him. I'm expecting, because this is the NFC Championship game. All hands are on deck. I'm expecting him to practice tomorrow, at least limited in a limited fashion, and try to play in the game. That would be my guess on Dallas Goedert. All hands on deck. You see the same thing going on in Washington with Deron Payne and Bobby Wagner specifically. I expect them to practice at least in a limited way Friday and then try to play in the game. Same thing with Dallas Goedert here.
So you feel decent about saying you think, I know obviously this isn't a report or anything, or you're not confirming, but you feel like Dallas Goedert has a better chance to play this weekend than let's say Cam Jurgens.
Yeah, right now I'm leaning positively for Dallas and negatively for Cam is how I would describe it.
We'll see how that plays out. Johnny Mac, other big update here that I want to get from you. The only other guy who missed practice today, by the way, was Fred Johnson. It says personal matter, so I don't want to get into that. Obviously, we don't know about Fred, and he's not a starter, so should be all good there, although we might need him if we got problems on the offensive line. John, let's go to QB1, Jalen Hurts. Obviously had the knee injury. We've been talking about it all week long. What did you see from him today? I know he was on the practice field. In your brief look at him, How did it look like he was moving? I was on the air, so I didn't really see everything that came out. What'd you see from Jalen Hurts at practice today?
Yeah, obviously no movement. We saw him throw a little bit. He had loose sweatpants on, which I think was purposeful
Yep.
to uh, 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 try to hide what type of brace he has or what type of brace he's using. Um, I did see him in the locker room again after practice. No noticeable limp. So, and he was a full participant. He wasn't limited. So I think things are looking positive for Jalen Hurts that, he might not be 100%, but it's not going to be drastically um, a downturn from a physical perspective. And he should be able to do what he needs to do. And I think that is probably the most positive news of the day because I expected him to be limited, and he's already a full participant. So, um, and that means play he all hands on deck. Obviously, we knew. I mean, he said after the game
John, real
on
quick,
Sunday.
just if I could interrupt you, could you repeat that last sentence? Your audio cut out on Jalen after you said he was limited, or you expected him to be limited, but he was not.
Yeah, as a full participant, so that's very positive because we all knew he was going to play. He said Sunday he was going to play, but
Right, right, right.
I thought they would try to manage him, be very cautious during the week, and the fact that he was a full participant by Thursday is very very positive news, I would say.
Yeah, good stuff there. So we'll say, do you expect him at all to still be scaled back in the run game, or do you feel good enough to think that they might be all systems go, pedal to the floor on the run game as well with Jalen?
I'm not going to say all systems go, but I think it's closer to 100% than we were expecting
Okay,
earlier in the week. So
okay,
I think it's trending very well. Um, but he's clear. He clearly got banged up. There's no escaping that. That if you look at that play, it was really ugly. Um, and he was in that injury tent for a long time. And Kenny Pickett was warming up very vociferously. He was ready to come in the game, and so all considering what could have happened and where it's looking right now, I would say it's very very positive.
good stuff there on Jalen Hurts. Positive developments there. We recap Jurgens, Goddard, Hurts, John. The couple other names that were on the injury report, all full participants, but a couple other guys who were out there. I do want to ask about Quinyon Mitchell because obviously we came into the week with questions on him. Seems like it's going to be all systems go with Quinyon from the outside. Anything you can share from the inside on Quinyon?
Well, Quinion talked yesterday, and he said, yeah, he's going to go. Hurt his shoulder making a tackle, and it's something to keep an eye on during the game. If you get hit on the same spot again, but the Eagles have gone through this with Isaiah Rogers, who's done a very good job, whether it's Slay or Quinion, of coming in and seems to always make a play when he does come in. Um, and they have some good depth there. So, uh, but obviously the hope is Quinyon Mitchell will be able to play the entire game, and right now he's expecting to play the entire game, and I don't think he's a big concern.
Good stuff there on Quinyon Mitchell. John, anything else jump out at you today from practice? We got the update on most of the players. The other guy maybe I could ask about here would be Brenton Covey. John, he was a limited participant today in practice. You think he'll be out there on Sunday?
I don't think so. Britain's had been dealing. I haven't gotten to talk. He hasn't been in a locker room, so I haven't gotten to talk to him this week. By doing this, it's a situation. They've done this with Byron Young as well as the backup defensive tackle. They started his 21-day practice window because remember, when you're on injured reserve, you can't practice. So, the fact that they're able to get him involved, get him out there, see where he is a positive at the end of the season. But I don't expect him to be activated this week. But I haven't gotten to talk to him. The problem was, his original shoulder injury. Then there was some kind of nerve issue where he couldn't really, if he got hit on the right spot, he couldn't grip the football. So obviously you can't. There's ball security issues if you can't do that. So uh, I don't know if he's past that because I haven't talked to him about it yet. But I would doubt that he's going to be activated for this game.
Good stuff, Johnny Mac. Good stuff there on the practice report, on the big injury report. Obviously, everybody's been waiting to hear. And all of a sudden, John, we have kind of a wrinkle now thrown into the prep for the NFC title game with your starting center. I don't know what he did to his back, but boy, not something we expected to be talking about here on Thursday. Let's say when you go back to Monday, we didn't expect to talk about this. So big wrinkle here for the Birds to handle.
Yeah, it is. And it's weird because you might lose your Pro Bowl center and get a better center, but you're worse at left guard. So that's how I look at it. It's not center. And with all due respect, and Cam Jurgens is a hell of a player, but it's not center is not where you need to worry about. It's the downgrade from Cam Jurgens to Tyler Steen in moving Landon Dickerson away from left guard.
Jalen and Landon better get some reps in, though, because isn't that a thing? All centers snap the ball like slightly differently. You don't want to be an issue on a snap, right, Johnny Mac?
Yeah, Eagles are mainly a pistol shotgun team, obviously. So Land is very good at that.
Right. Less of an impact than obviously under center.
Yeah. Under center, obviously, you got tush pushes. So you have a little bit of that. And the rare times they use traditional play action, which might be 3-4 times a game. But yeah, the center quarterback exchange is not. I think a lot of people say, well, why can't you do that? Well, they can do that. That's not usually the issue. The issue for quarterbacks is the footwork coming out of center, not the exchange. As long as you get the football up and the quarterback isn't leaving early, you're going to be fine.
Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. John, any other things that stood out to you today at practice? And then I'll let you run, brother. Get home safe, and we'll talk to you in the morning on Birds 365.
No, again, we don't get to watch much practice, just stretching and individual work this time of year. But, we did get to see a little special teams. And certainly if you look at that week 16 game against Washington, maybe the key to losing that game was the poor performance on kickoff coverage. Both kickoffs, Braden Mann, they've switched back to Jake Elliott because of that game. And then they had Danny Graves, one of their top practice squad players, sort of mimicking Luke McCaffrey, who had all those big kickoff returns against the Eagles on that day. So they're very focused in on making sure that doesn't happen again.
Johnny Mac, great stuff, man. We'll talk to you in the morning on Birds 365. We appreciate you giving the update. John, you're working hard. And on the behalf of all of our great viewers, on behalf of me, obviously, I do want to thank you, John, because you're working your butt off, man. Starts at 8 a.m. at Birds 365. You're down there all day. And here you are again at Novacare checking in. So we appreciate all the work, John. The people who are listening appreciate it. Get home safe, brother. We appreciate you. Thank you, man.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
All right. There's John McMullen joining us live here on Football 24/7. Great stuff, as always, from John McMullen. I'll recap everything he said if you're just checking in and you missed it. All right. There's 4 key names I think we were all waiting for an update on. Okay. 4 key names, and 2 of them were added in the last 24 hours. All right. Or 30 hours, whatever you want to call it. Cam Jurgens. Not good. Not going to lie to you guys. Didn't sound great when I heard John talking about this. Okay. He's confident with Dallas Goedert. Feels good about Jalen Hurts. Feels great about Quinyon Mitchell. Cam Jurgens, he was 2 days missed, back injury. John said his gut feeling is that Cam might not be ready to go in this football game. I know there was a couple Eagles linemen who said they think he'll be ready to go. If you're out there and you've dealt with back injuries, I'm lucky enough to not have, but obviously somebody in my family has. Back injuries can linger. It can be a nerve. It can be a disc. It can be a lot of different things. And, that's one of those injuries that lingers. So What John did say they will do, though, for Cam Jurgens is they will slide Landon Dickerson from the left guard to the center. He took all the reps at center today. And they will slot in Tyler Steen at left guard. So I do feel a little better about that. You're instead of having potentially a hole in the middle, you move Landon over. Landon obviously played center at a very high level late in his college career. And then you slot in Tyler Steen. So some changes on the offensive line coming into this game. And I will remind everybody, the Commanders do have a very good defensive line, especially in the interior. Not so much on the edges, but in the interior. They got Jonathan Allen. Deron Payne's nursing an injury, but he's a great player. So definitely got to keep our eyes on Cam Jurgens and what happens. Ike O checks in. If it's back pain, he's not playing. We'll see, Ike. It is back, though. It is back. That's a tricky injury, backs. I see you saying you had a back injury. Yeah, they're no joke, no doubt. Dallas Goedert, John said, wasn't practicing today, but he was out at the field. So he did, John had a picture of him up on his social media account. He was next to the sideline. He was on the sideline. You could see him watching practice. John said he probably expects him to get back to limited tomorrow and then be able to be ready to go for Sunday. So, obviously he was speculating again, not confirmed yet, but he felt better about saying Dallas Goedert will play this Sunday. Certainly much better than he did about Cam Jurgens playing this Sunday. Jalen Hurts, as far as Jalen Hurts goes, said he didn't see not much movement out there, but the one thing he did mention was Jalen was wearing big baggy sweatpants. John speculated maybe that was purposeful to try and hide if there was any sort of a hard or soft brace on that knee for Jalen Hurts, but he was full participant in practice. John thought he was going to be a limited participant, so I think that's a good sign when he's already back to a full participant here on Thursday. So Jalen should be ready to go on Sunday. And actually, John said he even feels a little bit better, about him in the run game than he originally thought. Maybe not 100%, maybe not all systems go was the word I used, but closer to 100 than we originally thought today. So good stuff there on Jalen Hurts. And then Quinyon Mitchell spoke, good to go. He's got the shoulder. He's nursing it. Look out for it in the game. Maybe if it gets re-aggravated or somebody hits it, but Quinyon should be good to go. And that's your update on the Big Four. So Cam Jurgens, circle him now, everybody. I just did on my notes. He's the big concern on playing, maybe even a bigger concern than what Jalen Hurts will be in the running game. Okay? So we will get the update on that again in the morning from John McMullen on Birds 365. Make sure you guys are all tuned in 8 to 10 a.m. Birds 365 on JAKIB Sports. It's the best Eagles insider show. I'm sorry. I love everybody. Everybody's got great shows. You don't get 2 hours of Eagle talk like you do every morning on Birds 365 with insider scoop and analysis from, I think, one of the smartest football minds in the city, and that's John McMullen. I put John McMullen in the room with Ray Diddy when it comes to football knowledge. And you might push back on that. I don't care. I've talked to both men. John McMullen is as knowledgeable as it gets. I always laugh at the one guy who comes in and says, John McMullen's football IQ is terrible. And I'm like, wow, that's quite a low IQ comment right there. John McMullen is very smart when it comes to the game of football. So that's your update on the 4 players. All right. Good stuff, everybody. I hope everybody's ready to go. I do. John explained pretty thoroughly about the shift from Dickerson to center. That should make you feel much better about if you did lose Cam. Obviously, it's not ideal. Obviously, you want Jurgens to play the game, but I do think you can feel a little bit better knowing that you have Landon Dickerson there, who will step in at the center role, and then Tyler Steen will play the left guard. So we will see how it goes in this game. But I appreciate everybody checking in today. That's the practice report here on JAKIB Sports. We were supposed to go at 6 and we went at 5:40-ish. So we went a little early on everybody. I apologize for that, but we did give you guys the update. Kenny Sprague checks in. Get Kelsey out of retirement for one game. Yeah, how about that? He's probably 50 or 40 pounds too light though, man. Those offensive linemen, they start shedding weight quick, brother. They start shedding weight quick. Kenny, I appreciate you checking in. All right. Brian Waddington, what's up, man? Big Z held it down today without Sills. Thank you, man. Brian, appreciate you, brother. Philly07 says, JAKIB needs to do a meet and greet soon. Philio, one of my favorite things in the world is meeting the great people of JAKIB Nation. And I truly mean that. I've met a few of them. All right. Not many of them, but I've met a few of them in person, live and in person, Flexing and Steppin. I met Flexing and Steppin. So he might be anonymous to you guys. He's not anonymous to me. I met my guy, Jason A-Team, one of the great supporters here on JAKIB Sports. So I'd love to do that, Philly 07, and maybe we'll make something happen with that, brother. I appreciate you saying that. All right. Let me get to a couple more comments and then I will get out of here. Ike O says, Jacob's my go-to, unbiased. That's how sports channels should be. Ike, thank you, man. Not everybody likes that, but we know there is a sector of people who do, and we appreciate you checking in. Fly Eagles Fanatic says, Cam missed this game. He's a problem. Yeah, a lot of missed time last year. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not as worried about it as you are, I will say. RMP, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Curtis checks in. He probably has some spasms. They'll shoot him up game day. Yeah, if it's spasms, you feel a little better, Curtis, because of what you said. If it's some sort of a disc issue, if it's some sort of a, I don't know, a nerve or some sort, I think that's a little bit weird, with the back. I'm not, the back injuries, I got to be honest. They're the ones that scare me a little bit more, because the back can be anything, man. You can get up off the couch and tweak your back. How many times you see an old guy? How many of you have dads or uncles or grandparents or whatever it is? They get up off the back or they're off the couch and they're grabbing their back. You don't want that. A back injury is lingering, man, no doubt. So, all right, everybody, I appreciate you all. Great stuff today. I thought we may do pretty well without Big Sills. Hopefully he'll be back up tomorrow, but no promises on that one. And I'll figure out something to do with Big Sills is going. Maybe I'll get some guests to bring in and we'll talk some football on the channel. I appreciate everybody checking in. Professor Fiddlesworth, one more comment I'll read here on the way out. Zander, most likely Cam rest the whole week, plays game day, but got to have Dickerson ready to get some rips in case he has to be pulled. Agreed, Professor. That seems like what it's going to be. But still got to see if he's going to play on Sunday. Professor, here's the one thing I love about John. John normally has when John says, this is my gut feeling, it normally, one, comes with some information that he's not willing to share publicly that backs his opinion, and he's normally pretty freaking right. So he didn't say Cam wasn't going to play yet. He said he doesn't feel too great about Cam, okay? And we'll see how that plays out. But I appreciate everybody checking in. Fiddlesworth, Brandon Howard, good to see you all. Flexing and Stepping. Ike, have a good night, man. Appreciate you. Fly Eagle. Daz, what's up, Daz? Appreciate all you guys. Tony Z, my guy Tony Z. John Glisson, good stuff. Been watching all day. Supposed to be working. That's what we like to hear, John. That's what we like to hear, man. All right, brother. Everybody, appreciate it. Brothers and sisters, if there's any woman in here, I appreciate you guys as well. Tomas checks in. After so much time watching other YouTube channels, I finally found JAKIB. I love that you guys are genuine fans. I'm the only genuine fan here, but also we learn a lot from you and from JAKIB Nation. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Good stuff as always. All right, we'll be back in the morning, 8 to 10 a.m., Birds 365, baby. The best Eagles show on YouTube. Tell a friend, share the show, send out the link, whatever you got to do to help us grow. We appreciate you guys as well. See you next time, everybody.
EAGLES, Eagles.